What's up, everybody? Welcome to Calling All Bowlers, episode 23. Hope you guys are having an awesome evening. We are live on TikTok Live, 6 o'clock on the dot. Hope everybody's having a good evening. Getting it shared in here. There is Miss Amanda. Miss Amanda, give me a second. I'll get you invited in. There we go. Hey, Kurt. How you doing? Can you hear us? Hey, there she is. Oh,
Here we go.
you got it?
Yeah, I have a microphone and I put it in, but I don't think it's going to work. Give me just a second. We'll try it again.
That sounded good. Oh, there's the echo.
Okay, let's see if it turns on. Can you hear?
I hear a lot of this.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
why we get everything together.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'll be able to wear my mic because when I put it in the port, it cuts off your sound and I can't hear you.
Yeah. No, I understand. That ain't no thing. We're gonna make this work. Everybody, welcome in. I think Amanda, all you need to do on your end is just kind of cut your volume down on your phone a little bit, and it might minimize my echo in on your end. Can you still?
Oh,
Yep.
let's see here.
That doesn't. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay. Keith says he hears us both good. Awesome.
All right. I can barely hear you now, though, now that I got it turned down.
Try maybe two up. That might be perfect. And I'll try to talk a little bit louder too if I have to. So,
Let's
so
see.
how about everybody? How about everybody out there? Can you hear? Can you hear Amanda and I? Okay, just leave a note in the comments for us. I'm
We'll just do
thinking
the best we can, right?
that's right. That's what's good about these shows. We get to a point and we wing it. So well, let me do the official intro here. Hello, everybody. It's your boy, the Damn Good Average Bowler, here with episode 23 of Calling All Bowlers. And I want to welcome in Miss Amanda Sellers, also known as the Dental Hygiene Queen. You guys can see her
Hi.
handle right there at the bottom. Miss Amanda is helping me check off another state in my little 50-state journey of interviewing every bowler from at least one of all 50 states. So, Amanda, I appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Of
How are
course.
you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking.
Oh, yeah, I heard. I sent the message earlier. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get everything set up, and I'm gonna do the 5 minute warning. And I saw your message. I was like, okay, good, everything's gravy. We're all
Yep.
falling into play. So, if you're just now tuning in, welcome everybody. Calling All Bowlers, episode 23. I am interviewing Miss Amanda Sellers. Now, Amanda, this is just where we basically do the beginnings of our program. So, tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, I am from Asheville, North Carolina, born and raised. Currently reside here. I'm a dental hygienist full time. I've been in the dental field since 2012. I was a dental assistant for about 10 years before I went to hygiene school. Um, some things that I like to do outside of bowling. My husband and I, we have a dog. His name is Kylo, and I started using communication buttons with him. So that's something that I'm a little passionate about, is teaching my dog how to actually communicate with me using buttons. Um, I also like to increase my dental health knowledge. Part of my career requires that I take continuing education. But we've started really digging into how sleep disordered breathing shows signs in the mouth. And so it's one of those things that it's kind of outside of the normal realm of your basic dental continuing education. So I do like to dive into that because it's something we're really passionate about. Um, I also like to play video games with my husband. We do a lot of stuff together. We bowl together. We just went to the movies with some friends. But we do play video games. We have our own separate PlayStations. He plays in the living room. I play in the bedroom. So we can actually play together. But yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Okay. So before, when I was reading through what I had you send me back, I wanted to Google, some of the stuff you're talking about, being a dental hygienist. And one of the things, I was like, I have never heard of what was it specifically? You're trying to be a Mayo. How you pronounce that for me? Because I don't want to butcher that.
Okay, yes, it's called a myofunctional therapist. And I'm still learning about it. I don't know much exactly, but it's something that a dental hygienist can take a course on and become certified to do. And it has a lot to do with retraining people how to use their tongue properly, placing it in the right places when they're breathing to help with nasal breathing, to help with swallowing correctly. If somebody has a tongue tie, which is the place underneath your tongue, if it's really short and your tongue can't do the things it's supposed to do, and you get that released, you have to retrain your tongue. So myofunctional therapist, it's just an adjunct that hygienists can add to their repertoire, which is really important because as hygienists, that job is really hard on your body. And so being able to do something different where you're not continually crouched over or using your hands all the time, it's a nice break, but you still get to be in the dental field to do it.
Okay, okay. I looked it up and I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to talk about this a little bit more because, like, we get on here to the show and immediately it's like, okay, bowling, bowling, bowling. But it really gives us, it really gives a layer to the person we're talking to.
Right.
And when I first saw your handle on here, I mean, immediately it's not hard to know, like, okay, she's in the dental field. I mean, that kind of gave it away. But you were bowling league one night and I was just like, I'm trying to meet as many people, as many bowlers on here, and to kind of put this story into play. So okay, you said that was 2012. You've been a hygienist since 2012.
I've been a dental assistant since 2012.
Okay.
I went through that program first. It's a 1 year program. But dental hygiene was always the end goal. I actually applied for both of the programs because they're competitive entry. They only allow or only accept 30 students for dental assisting, and at that time, only 16 students for dental hygiene. And I got in on the assisting side, but I was on wait list for hygiene. And at that time in Asheville is very saturated with hygienists. And so there wasn't even any jobs available. So I knew if I even went through the program right after dental assisting, that finding a full-time job would be a challenge. So I just continued to do dental assisting. And then it had been about 9 years into it, I was ready for the change. Our living situation changed. We moved in with Keith's parents, planning on paying off debt and building a home. So they weren't charging us rent. And I saw an opportunity to go back to school and not have to worry about how we were going to pay our bills with half of my income gone while I was in school. And it just happened to coincide with COVID. And in the dental field, when COVID hit, a lot of people that were either really close to retiring hygienists, they went ahead and retired because they were scared. Because I think it was dental hygienist was the number one job at risk to have because we create aerosols in the mouth. Dentist was number 2 and dental assistant was number 5. And so a lot of people left the field. And then I got super lucky because I made it into the program and it opened up a big opportunity for people just coming in. You were able to get a job right out of school. You weren't begging to fill in somewhere until somebody retired or moved. And then a lot of things with the dental field that people don't realize, just with any job in general, there's some challenges and toxicity among people in the dental field. They feel like there's this hierarchy, and so there's like assistants against hygienists, and then sometimes it's the clinical team against the dentist, and then it's the front desk. It's a different dynamic. So when people in the dental field had 2 months of time to stay at home during COVID, they really reevaluated their career choice, the people that they worked with, their bosses. And so the dental hygienists that decided to stay, a lot of them saw an opportunity to make more money doing fill-in work instead of being somewhere permanently, because the fill-in hygienists don't get the benefits, like the extra stuff, the retirement, the healthcare. So they were like, you know what? I don't have to deal with office drama. I can just hop place to place. And so the field right now, there is a little bit of a shortage. They'll say there's a huge shortage, but I really don't think that it's as big as they think it is. I think it's that a lot of people in the dental field decided not to put up with some of the things they had just felt like they had to put up with. So there's been a lot of changes. And I'm at a great office. I love where I'm at. It's very small. I'm the only hygienist. One doctor, 2 assistants, and 1 front desk. And it's a huge change from other offices that I had been at in my career that had 25 to 30 employees. So yeah, I like where I'm at. I'm very happy with my job right now. Yeah.
Well, that is awesome to hear. Right out the gate, I know I'm trying to go back here and look through the chat here, but Wayne wants me to ask you, what do you think about people not using mouthwash because it destroys good bacteria?
I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good mouthwash out there, but a lot of like the name brand stuff like Listerine, Scope, it does kill bad bacteria, but it's also going to kill the good bacteria. And just like with your stomach, you have to have a healthy balance of that, right? Mm-hmm. So when my patients, I don't always recommend a mouthwash, but based on what I see, someone's home care, their medical history, if I think they can benefit from a mouthwash, there's really only 3 that I recommend to my patients. And it's not Scope, it's not Listerine.
All right. Well, y'all heard it from Amanda here first, and that's a very credible source. And I'm gonna vouch for that and go with that. So going through the notes here, we might kind of go a little bit all over the place. I've been
Sure,
through that.
absolutely.
So you guys talk about playing video games. I saw you on a live one night. I think you guys were playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
out of all the Call of Duties you've played, what's your favorite one?
I don't have a favorite, to be quite honest. But when I do think about what I enjoyed the most is when 2020 hit, right before everyone got that stay-at-home order. They came out with Warzone 1, I believe, and Verdansk, the big map. Mm-hmm. I spent a lot of time playing Warzone. Yeah. So if I had to pick one, the original Verdansk Warzone would be my favorite.
It's funny you say that because when I was staying home, because, bowling centers weren't open, I got really into Zelda's Breath of the Wild, and it had been out for 3 years, and I never got a chance to go through it. And, of course, that was more than the perfect time. So I completely am in alignment with you as far as, like, the getting caught up on the video games because we had nothing else to do. Let me ask you this. We're going to go into some of these again. We're in the non-bowling related portion of this part of the podcast. Tell us this. Tell everybody what did you want to be growing up?
That's all I talked about. My whole 4 years of high school, I was going to go to law school. I was going to be like Ally McBeal, living in the city, having my little defense lawyer thing going on with a team of people. I just really thought that was exactly what I wanted to do. Even my best friend at the time would say, you can argue with a brick wall as long as you have the facts to back it up. And I was like, yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. And then I used to say that my backup would be an orthodontist, right? Because I had a great experience with braces in high school. And I thought, I wouldn't mind helping people want to smile again, because I know that I didn't smile a lot. But as soon as I got those braces on, even though my teeth were still crooked, I instantly just started smiling because I knew where I was headed. I knew where I was headed with that. But yeah, so that didn't quite work out. My path went a little differently. My first year of college at UNC Greensboro, I did political science undergrad. And I realized I don't think this is for me. I don't think it's for me. And then that's when I really started looking into the dental field. And even at 18, it took me until I was 28 before I finally got into a program, moved around a little bit. My life went in a different direction. And so I was a bartender and a server for a good 10 years before I finally got back into school and set a goal. My goal was to have a degree by the time I was 30. I graduated from the assisting program, I think a month before I turned 30. So it was like, yes, I did it, got it, And then when I went back to hygiene school, I went back to bartending, but I bartended at the bowling alley. And I made decent money there too. Even my husband Keith was like, "Are you sure you want to be a hygienist?" And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't want to do nights and weekends, and so I said, this is just temporary."
I completely get it. I'm just glad that I've got a guy that works a couple of Saturdays here, so I can have a couple of weekends to myself. So I understand that wholeheartedly. Let's see here. So, and it's funny you brought that up with the Ally McBeal, because I think everybody will agree with me here. You give off those Ally McBeal vibes. You really do. Okay. Is that, now tell me this, is that, is, so when you and your husband met, was it the Ally McBeal vibes that drew him in, or what was it?
So I actually met my husband in middle school, and
Oh,
he was one of my crushes. But he will tell you he doesn't quite remember me, and that's okay because I moved away in the middle of seventh grade, right? So when I moved back to Asheville, I was going through my yearbook, looking for people to reconnect with that I knew from elementary school and middle school. And, I come across his little picture with this little heart around it that I drew. I was like, I
uh,
wonder what he's up to. But he was dating someone at the time when we connected through social media. So I was like, not going to pursue anything. And he reached out to me. And when he did reach out to me a few months later, I was stalking his page, making sure he was single because I'm not a home wrecker.
uh,
And he was, and he asked me out for coffee.
okay. And
So
then
I don't know really what attracted him to me. I used to wear glasses. I did kind of have this kind of librarian look going on.
well,
So
there
it
you
could have
go.
been
Well,
it could
there
have
you
been
go.
that.
There it is, the librarian. That's exactly what it was. And I know he's here in the chat, so he could probably confirm that for us here. Uh, so now, how long have y'all been married now?
We are coming up on, let's see, 2011, 2020, 14 years.
Woo, 14. Okay. Well, tell the chat this, okay? Because I always anytime I've got anybody on here that's been married for over a decade, I always ask them like, "What's the secret? What's the secret?"
It's so cliche,
Hmm.
but literally marrying your best friend.
Hmm.
Because you can have different likes, interests, but you need to have more likes and interests that are intertwined. Because your circle of friends, it may start out big when you're younger, but as you age, you find out who your true friends are. You move, they have kids and you don't, or vice versa, and that changes things. And so, in order for a successful marriage to work, you really have to be friends. You have to be friends, and you have to have common interests that you do together, which is the bowling and the video games. And when I worked at a golf course during my service industry years, we golfed together. We typically like most of the same movies. He likes more action stuff. I'll watch it. But he's really more into movies than I even am. But like today, we went on a double date with some friends and we went to see the new Superman, and we really do everything together. And you have to like the person that you're with, because there's going to be days that you don't like them, and you still love them, but you really have to like the person that you're with. You can't be too opposite. And I know they say opposites attract, but that does fizzle out. That happened I was married once before. I got married when I was 22, and then 3 years later we realized we were way too opposite, and it would have never worked. So you really do have to marry your best friend.
All right. Yes or no? Is the Superman movie worth going to see? Yes or no?
Okay, I have mixed feelings about Superman. He's never been my favorite, right?
So you've always
I
been Batman.
I like Batman, but I've gravitated more towards Marvel stuff than DC.
Okay.
And so with Superman, when we had four movies that we were talking about going to see. Megan 2.0, we had just saw the first one online.
Mhm.
Superman, F1, and then I can't remember, but I'm sure Keith will say it in the chat. There was another one, and then there was out of those two, we always try to figure out which one do we have to see in the theater because we know it's going to be a good movie in the theater, or what can we wait on streaming. So we narrowed it down to Superman and Megan 2.0. And then he talked about inviting some friends. And our friend Eric is a huge Superman fan.
Okay.
And I was like, he's like, let's, a Jurassic World. Yeah, Jurassic World. I was like, let's invite Eric. And sure enough, he was like, yes, let's go see Superman. So that's basically how we narrowed it down. It's great. I liked it. I like the dog. The dog was a great addition. He's like a bull in a china shop. I think it had a good story. It was different than some of the other Supermans. So yeah, I think if you're looking for a good summer blockbuster to go see, Superman's one of them.
Well, y'all heard it. So if you haven't gone and to see Superman, take action and go see it today. That's Amanda approved. All right, so we're getting to the port here. One last thing about the non-bowling related part of our show here. Some of your life goals. One of those, like I said, obviously you want to be myofunctional therapist, as you said earlier. And you said y'all are close to building a home.
In the near future, we want to get started. That was the whole point in moving in with his parents back in 2017. They got a little plot of land right behind the house. And so, the goal was to pay off debt and build a house. And then going back to school, push the timeline out. Mm-hmm. And then, sadly, we lost Keith's mom in January of 2022 from COVID. And so with his stepdad, John, he bowls with us. John does. Okay. He does not have kids of his own. His family's in Missouri, so we are his family. And we're comfortable. We live down in the basement, but we're comfortable being here with John, and we know that helps him. It's helped him over the last 3 years. And so we've just kind of pushed it off. And I realized last November, it's been 7 years. I was like, wow, we've been down here 7 years. I think it's time to start doing the process. So that is definitely a future goal of ours, is to get something built. And we're going to be right here. Like, I'm literally looking at the lot. So we won't be far from John. John's,
like a hop and a skip.
Yep.
And the last part of this here, what is something most people do not know about Amanda?
Well, now that I'm in my 40s and I have different friends, a lot of people don't know my likes and interests from growing up. And we were a huge NASCAR family as far as watching it. We would watch it every Sunday. I was a big Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. Mm-hmm. And I even got to meet him when I was in 8th grade.
Nice.
So where my mom moved us to is not far from here. It's about an hour and a half, and he has a dealership, Dale Earnhardt Chevrolet, in Newton, North Carolina. Right. And once a year, they would have a get-together. Some of the drivers would come out. He was always there. He would sign autographs. And I had worn my big jacket. I mean, this jacket, I'm a little girl, right? And imagine me in 8th grade. And so I've got this big Earnhardt jacket, and all of a sudden, my mom's like, hey, we're picking you up from school. You have a dental appointment. And I was like, oh, great. So her and my stepdad picked me up, which was odd to begin with. And as we're driving, we drive past the dealership, and everybody's there. And I was like, oh, I know he's there today. He's there today. And they go past the dealership, they turn around, and they park. And I'm going, what is happening? And we walk in, and we're in the bay where they pull in the cars. And we were talking to the gentleman that had sold my stepdad several trucks over the years. And Dale Earnhardt Sr. walks by me, like, I don't know, 12 feet from me. I didn't know this at the time, but I stopped breathing. My mom, she hit me on the back of on my back and was like, breathe, Amanda. And all I could do was suck in air. And I went, and I started holding my breath again. She hit me again on the back. She's like, breathe. And I went, I was starstruck, absolutely starstruck to watch him walk in front of me. And then the next thing I know, the car salesman is sticking me in the front of the line, right there with Dale Earnhardt Sr. And
Wow.
I handed my jacket. I asked him 3 times, can we have a picture? But I couldn't hear him. That's how starstruck I was. Like, I literally could not hear him. And finally, the 3rd time I asked him, he just smiled again. He's like, turn around and smile. And so I got my picture made with him, and my mom blew it up in big poster size, so that's at her house still, and I still have the jacket to this day. So I know that jacket's going to be worth something because I also have the photo to authenticate his
Oh
signature.
yeah.
And yeah, I was very devastated when he
Mhm.
wrecked and didn't make it. And so yeah, that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know about me. Let me see if there's anything else I put. Oh yeah, I already mentioned that I was a server slash bartender long before I was in the dental field, and that I was married for a short time in my early 20s. So
I
yeah.
remember vividly that day. And I remember July when Junior won it because my mom was going nuts in her bedroom. She was like screaming, and it was it was surreal almost. It was surreal. So I was I kind of feel like NASCAR has dropped off considerably since those days. I don't know how you feel about it, but it's kind of like I'll turn it on and I'm watching it and I'm like I have no idea who any of these people are.
That's funny you say that because that's how we've always felt about it over the last 10 years, and we don't watch regularly.
Hmm.
Um, I when we do try to watch Daytona every time, and I can't remember the name of the driver because it's been a few years, but the one that had a really bad wreck and they weren't telling us anything about it. It literally brought back this feeling of panic, and my dog Vader that I had at the time, I mean, I literally squealed and screamed out loud when the wreck happened. And you know how dogs are very intuitive. He literally jumped up and stared at me, and I think even Keith had to call my name to kind of snap me out of it. And then Bader, he jumped on my lap and on my chest. He could tell I was panicking, and I was like, "This is why I don't watch it." I mean, the wrecks are fun, they're exciting, but when they're that bad, it's scary. It's very scary.
That I remember. Craig says it was Ryan Newman, by the way, and I remember my first big wreck I watched on TV was when Rusty Wallace flipped all them times at Talladega. I don't know if you remember that. It was bad enough losing Earnhardt, but I think the first one, being a fan of NASCAR, was when Davey Allison passed. That was big. That was big news then. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I remember that too. And then my niece, she actually drove quarter midget cars out near Charlotte. She did Allison Legacy in Hickory, and then moved up to super trucks. But she quit racing when she was 16, and now a lot of the guys that she raced with, like John Hunter Nemechek, those guys, she sees them, and now they're all making big names for themselves. So she was part of that crew when they were her, when she was little. She's 20, she'll be 24 this year. So yeah, she raced with those guys.
Okay. Yeah, that's another one too. Good point, Charlie. Alan Kawicki. Yeah, that. Yeah, when those. Yeah, we could go on about that stuff, but we want to get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast, and we want to get into what we all are a fan of. We're all fans of bowling. So, Amanda, take us through how you got started in bowling, because there is a lot here, but again, we all have a beginning. And then when you get to the point, like, tell us like when the TikTok lives and everything became a thing for you.
Yeah, so just like any other child, I bowled every once in a while. High school PE course would take us once a month. And then when my mom married my stepdad, I found out he had his own ball, he had his own shoes, he had trophies from league. And I was like, oh, this is fun. I loved watching him bowl. He was good at it. And then when I was living in Georgia, my ex-husband was deployed, and I joined a ball and bag league in around 2007, and it was an all-girls team. And of course, our name was Dolls with Balls, so that name's been around a long time, right? You see it. And
Hmm.
I got my first ball and my first bag, and then I got shoes. Well, when I moved back to Asheville and I started dating Keith, one day we were like, "Hey, you want to go bowling? I got my own ball. Let's go." And he liked to bowl, and then it just became an addiction. We were like, let's join a league. So we did some fun leagues that were just money. One was called Service Industry or Sin League. And since I was in the service industry, it was easy for me to stay up until midnight bowling, and not have to worry about being at work early the next day. But Keith had to be up at 5:45, but he hung in there. He hung in there, and we did that for a few years. And during our third season doing it, I switched from my 9-pound plastic to my 12-pound Black Widow Nasty. Keith bought me my first reactive ball. And my bowling style changed. It improved. And they called us sandbaggers when we won the season. And they said, her average does not match her bowling style. And I was like, well, I changed up, So we quit for like 3 years. We were kind of jaded. And then when we got back into it, I went up to a 14-pound ball in 2019. I was looking at that Black Widow pink hammer ball, and I wanted that gas mask core, and I thought, let's do 13 pounds. And I'm looking online, and I was like, the core's not the same. So I had to go up 2 pounds to get what I wanted. So that was a major change. And then that was the year that we joined our first USBC sanctioned league, because what we were doing prior was just fun stuff. Asheville Sports and Social Club does a lot of sporting stuff throughout the year. They do kickball, wiffle ball, cornhole, the bowling, of course. And so we had been doing that. And I think out of all the seasons only last 7 weeks. So they're short, right? We've won 11 of those seasons in 5 years that we were doing that. So we're like, it's time. Let's do some sanctioned bowling. And that's when I started getting more serious about it and actually learning more of the mechanics, kind of correcting some bad habits, changing my approach, how I was approaching the lane. And yeah, it's just kind of evolved from there.
Everything you just said about your beginnings and everything, and being deemed a sandbagger and everything, it's one of the things I've said in plenty of my lives I've done. And the people that really know me know what I'm talking about when I say this. The problem with bowling today is the bowlers. And again, take it however you want. I don't care. But my thing is, it's like she gave you the scenario. There's too many times that we run people off that genuinely want to come out and enjoy themselves and work towards progressing towards getting better at something. And I mean, there are ways. It's such a gray area. It's just like they use I think it's like a safe term to some people, because it's like, oh, it's just a safe thing to say. Oh, you've got 40 pins of handicap. You shot 240. Okay, well, you're a sandbagger. And it just it actually kind of repulses me in the sense, but that if they were really throwing off, and I've seen this as experience of all the years I've had as tournament director, guys and gals, I know what a sandbagger is, okay? And again, every once in a while, you're going to have somebody that has a really good game. So my challenge to you guys and gals out there is, if they have their best game, be encouraging. We need them in our bowling centers. We need to maintain, retain, and encourage. Just be more encouraging. So
not only that, but it's like, even when we would start a new season and we were getting, established that first week, I mean, me and Keith would be like, we don't have to bowl our best. We're getting established, but we're not forcing stuff into the gutter, right? We're not trying to. And I would have some of my best games that first week. And I'm like, I'm not even trying. And that's probably part of it, because we are trying. When we are trying, we're missing more. But I was like, I'm not even trying, and I'm bowling great. But then as the season wore on, I'm trying harder, and I'm like chasing that that high average. I'm chasing it. And so it does eventually level out. But, we've never looked at each other and said, hey, throw it in the gutter. We've got to get a bunch of handicap pins to start with, and then we'll deal with it later. No, we definitely, and I don't know anybody like that, but you still hear the grumblings of, oh, that's sandbagging. I'm like, not with us, but you hear other people say it, and you're like, yeah, just don't say that. It discourages people. It really does.
Yeah, like I said, it's a safe word for people, and it's an easy way to put blame on others instead of taking accountability of your own shortcomings. And I mean, my thing is, it's like, especially like myself, if you're a scratch bowler, 90 to 95% of the time, I've got a much bigger opportunity to have a game that I need to get past. Like if I'm in a bracket or if I'm in high game or whatever, or if we're high low doubles, it's just again like that's what's running the game. It's the attitude of folks. I'm sure that's not just limited to bowling either. I mean, I'm pretty sure like y'all could have probably joined a kickball league and you would probably find it's like what Steve Rublin said earlier here when we were talking about when you were making the comments about the toxicity of people thinking they were trying to get one up on the hygienist or the assistants or whatever, and everybody's just like dog eat dog, if you will. It's so coincidental that it rolls over into anything and everything we do in this life. So, you know, but no, really good stuff right there, Amanda. And I just want to take this time to say thank you to everybody for joining us on Calling All Bowlers. Welcome in if you're just now joining. If anybody has any questions for Amanda, put them in the chat. Our boy Pickles is going to have a list of, if he's able to, I hope so, Pickles, maybe you can help us out. And when we're done here, don't forget to tune in to Pickles, Britt, Steven, and Kober for the learning curve, which will follow us right after we're done. Really good stuff. So we're going to keep on going on this journey with you, Miss Amanda. So it says here you only bowled one league. Okay, I guess that's time constraint.
Yeah, prior to going back to hygiene school and changes in my schedule, we would bowl like one sanction league and then social league. And so that was at least two. And then one time we added in Sin League, and I think we were bowling three. And then one time we had a Sunday league. But ever since I went through hygiene school, it was very difficult because I had to be home to study. So we did a lot of test taking at home because of COVID changes. And so it was like, okay, let's just stick with one league. And so I think even after going and graduating and then working, when you have a dog, you don't want to leave your dog at home by himself all the time, right? So doing one league, that's good for me. And I would much rather do a weekend Saturday tournament, or right now during the summer, the Thursday night sports shot. I can pick and choose when I want to go. So Kylo on Thursdays, every other Thursday, he goes and does doggy daycare and he comes home and he's exhausted. And so then I feel comfortable going back out to the bowling alley because I know that he's not been cooped up in his crate all day. And then I got Keith to come out with me this week, which was great. He normally doesn't because sometimes his job keeps him tied up at home. And, I got to do a sports shot with him this week. So yeah, I just commit to one league right now.
Okay. Let's go into the process of transitioning from house to sport or challenge. Your thoughts on that?
Well, it's so different, right? And I'm a slow bowler. I usually average about 11.6 miles per hour with my ball. And you get to a sports shot, and for me, I just like with any warm up, I just start dead center on that 20 board and throw the ball, and I watch its reaction, and I go from there. And usually the first two balls, they go straight into the gutter for my sports shot warm-up, right? And so that helps. And I came across a tip about picking up spares, and I'm probably going to say it wrong, but basically the gist was if you leave 4 pins on the left, just move 4 boards right and throw the same shot. If it's 3 pins on the right, move 3 boards right and throw the same shot. And that's actually helped me a lot in the sports shot more than anything, picking up spares. But it's so different because there was one night I bowled a 92, and then the next week I bowled a 93 on a different pattern. And it does make you think, why am I out here? Mm-hmm. Like I'm bowling like it's 2010, like when my average was 100, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't feel as much pressure because I know where I'm at, the level of bowling and knowledge that I have. I don't feel any pressure on those nights to be in the top 5 or top 7 to try to cash. I'm just there to learn something. If someone wants to teach me something or learn something on my own, then that's what I get out of it. I'm like, here's my $30. I come in, I'm like, I'm donating to the cause. Someone's walking with my money tonight. I don't do brackets because I don't like to take risk. I'll do brackets in USBC handicap tournaments. I've definitely won money that way, but sports shots, I'm like, no, no, you can have my $30 and that'll be it.
Well,
But
look at it like this, though. Okay, they're bowling on just as tough of a pattern as you are, and every person has their day, and spares are absolutely critical when it comes to bowling on challenge and sport patterns. And if anybody's ever seen the scores I post on the DGAB Facebook page, last week they bowled on red square, and there was a 535 tie. Yeah, 535. I literally watched a guy have a chance to win. All he needed to do was hit one of. He left the 2-8 and he missed both of them to the left. And then all of a sudden, I put the scores and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, that's why he's upset because there's a 535 tie. So yeah, and see, it's like Elizabeth said, learn this the hard way this week. So just something to think about, like creep into it, but maybe next time you go in there, if they have a high game pot, hey, you don't ever know.
this girl Jennifer, who's only been bowling maybe a year, year and a half, she's hooked up with some really good bowlers, and they've taught her a lot. And she put her money in the high pot, and she bowled her highest game last week on a sports shot. It was a 246, I think, and it was the third game of the night, so she won high game. So yeah, you just never know how your night is gonna go. You could just be knocking them down, picking up those spares, and you've got the money. But like I said, it's just my personality. I'm not a huge risk taker when it comes to money. Like I don't even. We go to Vegas, and I'm like, here's some slot machines, but I'm not comfortable being on the table. So I'm just not a huge risk taker.
Give me the penny slot machines. Yeah, I'm with you. All right, now this wasn't on the questionnaire, but I wanted to ask your opinion on this because I recently watched a video by our good friend Stephanie. I don't know if you've ever seen her stuff. Steph Strikes Again. She asked a question about people approaching her, specifically men, when she's by herself, giving her unsolicited advice and not asked for. So my question to you is has in your and at any time that you've practiced, has this ever happened? And if it has happened, how do you handle that situation?
Well, yes, I have been approached by strangers in the past, especially when I first started. And, being usually I am with my husband. But, there was a lot of times during hygiene school that I would bowl on a Friday afternoon or a Monday afternoon, like, depending on what my schedule was like. And yeah, random people do come up, especially men, and want to give you advice. Typically, I'm just like, and now it's all people I know because I've been doing this for so long. But when it's people I didn't know, I'd just be like, okay, thanks. I appreciate that. I'll give it a try. And I've never had anybody be pushy or aggressive. But sometimes you don't want to be approached, right? You just want to get up there, do your drills, throw your games, be in your own zone, and then go home. But so the problem that I have now is it's people I know. And they're nice people, but they want to come up and they want to give me advice, and it's always something different, right? Someone could be telling me, well, release your ball this way, hold it this way, and then the next day someone tells me something totally different. So what I try to do is I take everything someone says to me and I do what feels comfortable because you don't want to injure yourself. One time someone told me to tilt my wrist in and I was like, no. I tried it once and I said, this is my money maker. This is what I clean teeth with. I can't be doing all that. So yeah, and it can be frustrating as a female, because I'm definitely not a feminist in the word that a lot of people are, but I am pretty self-sufficient and independent. I even told my husband, like last year, I was like, I'm tired of being a strong, independent woman. I'm not loading my bowling balls in the car anymore. But sometimes, it can come across a little like, are you trying to help me or are you just trying to hit on me, right?
Exactly.
But being having a background in bartending, you pick up very, very quickly someone's intentions.
I know you said bartending, but I feel like that you've got a degree in psychology.
A little bit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Sorry about that. Almost tripped over my cord here. My apologies, Amanda. All right. Well, I'm still here. Sorry, y'all. Anyway, so okay, cool. So basically, guys and gals, people don't want your advice. Don't offer it. Just leave people alone. So, all right, now when I was coming up with a questionnaire to send you, like I wanted to figure out a way to kind of delve into this a little bit because when I read your answer about it, because I asked you like, how does the world of dentistry and bowling create your own niche on TikTok? And the answers you gave were absolutely awesome, and I definitely think that people would watch them because that it's the I don't know, it's like the it's like the pimple popping. People have people are very they find that stuff. Some are grossed out, but a lot of people find some of that stuff very satisfying. So I'll let you go into a little more in depth here. But how does the world of dentistry and bowling create your own niche here on TikTok?
So basically, what I put down was that, I've been doing dentistry almost as long as I've been bowling, and I had put up a few bowling videos in the past, and then when I went into hygiene school and I got into, doing more of that stuff, I thought, man, there's some good hygienists out there that are they've got a social media presence. They're doing all this, and I thought that was the path I wanted to go down. And I changed my name just from like my handle right now. If you were to search it, is at TaterBaby83, but the display name I changed it from my first name to Dental Hygiene Queen. And then I added the bowling pins a few months later when I realized I was posting more bowling content than dental. And to do dental content, you do want to kind of be in your scrubs so you look official, and people will take your advice. But I'm always worried that my patient might come across my page and they may see something. If I wanted to tell a story about a patient, like you have to be HIPAA compliant, but if they know it's about them, they could get really offended. They would contact my boss and I could get in trouble, right? So I'm like, let's kind of move away from that a little bit. And I started doing my bowling lives in July of last year. So I've been doing my lives for a year now. And I was recently thinking, I was like, gosh, dental hygiene queen, but I'm not really doing dental hygiene stuff. Maybe I should just change up the display name. So I am looking to change up my display name in the near future, probably within a week, that it won't say dental hygiene queen anymore. It'll be more bowling related. I just don't know what to come up with yet. I used ChatGPT to give me some ideas. I know I was always against using stuff like that, but I felt like this was a very just easy way to brainstorm. So I'm going to be going through a list of names and, getting all that situated. And so if you follow me now and it says Dental Hygiene Queen now, and then next week all of a sudden you see a totally different name, that's why, because I've been thinking about changing it up.
Okay. Well, really good stuff there, Amanda. Like I said, you are one of the biggest things I've learned since coming in, onto TikTok and really trying to put, myself together for TikTok is I started out was like just post, just post, just post, just post, and you end up finding your niche, and then you just do certain things. Like right now, I don't know if you saw the last couple, but now I got people who are like they're trying to get me to do different dance moves because I've been enjoying my music in the shop, and it's like in the last one I did, I had no idea what I was doing, but I think it comes down to being able to put yourself in a position where again, like at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it may seem stupid, it may seem dumb, but just put it out there. I mean, you're having fun, and as long as you're having fun with it, who cares? So that's kind of where I come from on that.
Yeah, and even at the same time that I started live streaming my bowling, I actually started live streaming my Call of Duty play. And I have a separate TikTok for that, but it didn't quite pick up steam, and I still post on it. I'll post clips, but I decided that streaming gaming is challenging. It's very challenging because I like to play with the crew. Most of these streamers, they play by themselves so they can interact with the people that are in the live streams a lot easier. And for me, playing with a crew of four, total of 4 people, I didn't want to be talking over my teammates, trying to interact with my viewers So I would get on there and I would just not speak to the viewers at all. And that's just not a way to build an audience, right? So I kind of, and it's expensive to really try to set up a good setup for live streaming gaming. I just do it from my PlayStation, but most of these people are PC and it's a lot easier through PC. And I started like buying things and I was like, this is just, it's a little bit too much. So now with that type of situation, if I have a really good clip from Warzone or multiplayer, I'll clip it and then I'll just post it straight to my YouTube. And then when I get a chance, I'll just put it on the TikTok. But yeah, so the finding your niche and what you're comfortable with is important. And I just realized I just was not comfortable live streaming my gaming and trying to build an audience. And I know that that's important when you're live streaming. You really want to talk to your people. But I didn't want to talk over my teammates either because you got to communicate to play those games. So, yeah.
It's like Chase said here, PC streaming gaming is very expensive, but in the long run, it's a very good investment. Truer words have never been spoken, good sir. All right, so we're in the part here. First, what is your highest sanctioned series?
September 30th, 2023, I bowled my highest sanctioned series, which was a 683. And it was my very first 600 series. It was just one of those nights I was throwing the hammer sauce, and every single game was it was like a 246. That was my highest at that point. And I think I'd have to look at my Facebook page because I have it on there, but like 246, a 212, and then another 200 series to get me to that 683. And I was over the moon. I even got 2 patches. I got a patch that said, it was a USB-C patch that says 80 pins over average. And then another patch for like a 650 series, I believe is what it said. So yeah, I was pretty proud of that one. Yeah.
So you're still chasing 700, huh?
Still chasing 700. And as of this past week, Tuesday night, I blew my old high game out of the water with a 277. I had
saw that.
9.
Yeah.
Yes. That was, man, the heart was pounding about 8th frame. But about the 6th frame, Patty, on the other team, Patty, love her to death. But after I got my 6th strike, I turned around and this is exactly how Patty sounds. You ever had a 300? And in my head, I'm like, shut up. But, I was like, no, never had a 300. And then she kept on. She's like, well, what's your highest game? And I said, a 246. She's like, you're about to beat that.
Gee, thanks. Appreciate
like,
that.
Oh, gosh, she's jinxed me.
That reminds me of my first one. I'd had 10 in a row before, and I hit the 10th one, and this little 9-year-old kid, I was 18 at the time, and this little 9-year-old kid was like, Michael, you just got 2 more. And I'm like, thanks, guy. Thank you. And you can't get mad at a 9-year-old kid. It's like, what do you say? It's just, so yeah. Some people don't know the unwritten rule of that. I mean, especially, oh no, the ultimate no. Yes, Pickles said it best. But if you hit 9, you're going to get there. We are going to manifest it here on this show. You're going to get there. You are going to have that clipped. You're going to have that posted. It's going to go viral. And it's going to be absolutely just insane when it happens. People just don't know. Please don't tell me I'm about to shoot an awesome series. Trust me, we already know. We are
100% aware of what is happening in this moment because we're living it, right? And even, my teammates, they didn't say a word. It was just like daps and high fives after each one. They let me focus, and even though I was live streaming, I just tried to stay as relaxed as possible with it. And then I got a little bit more quieter in the 8th frame and quieter in the 9th frame. And I walked up there for the 10th frame and I said, all right, here we go. It is what it is. And I threw that first ball and I left the 4 pin. And I was like, oh man, but I was just still like so excited. I picked that up and then I got 8. So clean game and just overall just still on cloud 9.
I'm telling you, 277 stout. Like I said, you're going to do it. I have all the faith in the world. And that's one of the things I do. One of the things I do notice, and I want to make the viewers very aware of this, it's like when I'm watching the ladies bowl on their league nights on their live streams. Y'all are so smooth. Like I'm serious. Like I've watched you roll the ball. I've watched Miss Maya roll the ball. I'm telling you, I've watched Britt roll the ball. Again, really smooth and some basic, like fundamental advice right there. Smooth is the key. I wish I could be as smooth. I'll say it to you like that. So, but no, everybody, if you're just now joining us again, Calling All Bowlers, episode 23, we have checked off this good state of North. As a road dog back in the day used to say, North Kakalaki. We have that checked off. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Rich. Women have so much finesse in their game. Absolutely. It's like I always tell people, the PWBA is what to watch. Them ladies know how to roll the rock very well, and they're smooth and agile. It's very graceful. I love it. I really do. It's really good stuff. So you just keep doing what you're doing, Amanda. You're doing a killer job, and as our good buddies Pickle says, you are absolutely crushing it.
Thank you. And I wish that we could get the PWBA to come through Asheville. We've had the PBA 50 come through at least 3 times. The PBA's come through 3 times. And I enjoy doing the pro-ams with those guys and then being there on the weekend to just watch them roll and then watching our local pros compete as well. And it's like you have someone that you know personally that you're rooting for, and it's just a whole vibe. The first time they came through, I was actually working. I wasn't working there the first time the PBA 50 came through. It was pre-COVID. But when they came back and the PBA came through for the first time, I was bartending that whole weekend, and I was just like, this is just so much fun. It's intense, but it's fun. Not like you're having a party fun, but fun just seeing the guys just throw ball after ball and strike after strike. And then you see the ones that are having an off day and you feel bad for them. You're like, oh gosh. But yeah, I was really excited. I was like, yeah, you guys got to keep coming back. And I would love for the PWBA to come through. It's not a big house. It's 24 lanes, but it would be nice to have some ladies there. I got to meet Elise Bolton at the last one, because Nate Garcia, he comes through here, and she was real nice. She signed my trophy. I actually won the Pro-Am, both Pro-Ams in 2024 for the PBA 50 and the PBA. So, when I win a Pro-Am, I stay, for the final, and whoever wins, they're going to sign my trophy. So I've got, let's see, Walter Ray Williams Jr. signed one of mine. And then, oh my gosh, I can see his face. It'll come to me. Zachary Tackett.
Oh yeah, Zach Tackett, EJ's brother. Yep.
Yeah, he signed it once, and then was it Trevor? Did Trevor win it one year? I'm trying to remember, but then I had 2 signatures when I got to meet Elise. So yeah. I'm like, if I'm gonna win, if I'm gonna have a trophy, I'm gonna get a signature, right?
All right. What is your favorite bowling ball of all time? It could be multiple. It could be one. It could be something current. It could be something you've rolled in the past. You might want to unmute.
Sorry, I'm trying to look back
I saw you talking, and I was like,
yeah.
All right, uh-oh.
I want to look back at my answer because I want to make sure that I am picking what I picked before. Because
Well,
I've changed my mind so many times.
Well, I will say this: the ball you said and the answer I've got is I've actually got that ball is very sentimental to me because I used the Hammer Black Widow Pink. That was the first 300 game I shot after my dad's passing.
Really?
And that's the ring that I got for it. It's still on my hand today. So when you said Black Widow Pink, I actually kind of got a little teary-eyed because it might have been an old man.
That one's sentimental to me too because, like I said, that's the first ball I went up to 14 pounds with. Mm-hmm. And once I got used to the weight, and my average just started going up, and I've bonded with that ball, I guess you could say. And right now, if you've ever been in my live and you've heard me talk about it during the summertime, that the thumb hole fits very, very well. I have no room for tape, just enough room for my thumb tape, but no room to put tape down in there because that's how well it fits. And in the summertime, about midway through game 2, I do start to swell out of it. So we were talking about doing inserts, interchangeable ones. So that may be my next goal, is getting all of my balls drilled for inserts so I can change them out, and even have one for when I do swell that's a little bit bigger that I can just pop it right in there. Because I'm looking for a little bit more consistency. But yes, the Black Widow Pink that came out in 2019. And then my other one right now is the Storm IQ Tour, the one I just rolled a 277 with.
Is that the blue one?
Yes, that's the blue one. Yes, it's like, it smells like apple cinnamon or apple pie or something. Yeah, that one. I've learned how to move a little further left with it and open up my angles, and so I'm starting to bond with that ball as well. So yeah, those are my two favorite right now.
Okay. Definitely not too shabby in that. Um, we're going to go to the part of the show here where it's called Pick Your Topic. And that is, we ask you, Amanda, what is something you would like to discuss more that is bowling related?
Um, Basically, like learning how to read a pattern graph or a pattern layout. When I look at one of those, when they like, this is the Sport Shot series, this is what we're bowling on this week, and they post it, it's like reading a foreign language, right? So that's definitely something I would like to learn a little bit more about and talk about, and what's important, like what to really look at on the graph and what we can ignore on the graph, right?
It said, if you have you ever seen any of Victor Cortez's lives?
I have not.
Okay.
He's popped into my live a couple times, but I've not seen any of his.
Uh, if you can catch him, he is normally bowling a tournament almost every weekend. He bowls on some of the most grossest oil patterns you will ever see. And the way he does his videos, and I've said this a million times, everybody that's in the live knows me, Victor articulates it so well when it comes to talking about the pattern he's on, talking about the equipment he's using, why he's using it. So, suggestion for me, if you've not done so, go follow Victor Cortez and check out some of his videos, because like I said, he articulates it and it's easily understood. It's not one of those like you got the deer in the headlight look, because you like what the hell is he talking about? Like, you actually understand as a bowler how he is trying to convey the message, if you will. So I will give you the easy version though and the quick version. Looking at the graph, I always tell people, look at how the distance is. Okay? And there's always what we call the rule of 31. Some people believe in it, some people don't. It, again, to me, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm sure we're gonna have I'm sure we're not I'm sure we're gonna have people go back and forth about this. But if a sport pattern you're bowling on, say, is 42 feet, you subtract it from 31. So we obviously know 42 from 31 is 11.
Yeah.
So 11 is one board left of the second arrow. So at that point down at the end of the oil pattern, you look at the graph, at the end of the oil pattern, also known as what? The break point. That's where the ball is going to slow down and start changing direction. That's usually where you want your bowling equipment to be on some of these tougher patterns. The second part of it is surface and matching up to the pattern. Obviously, if it's longer, you're going to use something with a little bit of surface. If it's shorter, you're obviously going to use something that's going to try to get down there and blend and smooth as much as possible. Which, again, a lot of people now on shorter patterns, well, we're just going to break it down with urethane and then we'll transition over to reactive. That's what a lot of people do. So just take a look. Length. I know if Mark Diller was in here right now, he would say that milliliters, like I said, how much oil is going down, it does play a part in it, of course. So just those are a couple of things, like when you're just but don't let, it's kind of like you said, foreign language, don't let it overwhelm you. Just, again, look at the length, subtract it from 31. That gives you a general idea of kind of where it needs to be down lane. And make your spares. Straighter is greater at your spares.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that too, because when I would do some sport shot things and I would move to where I would normally be on a house shot and pick up my spares, it would either scoot past it to the left or not make it, or barely miss it. like something easy that I've picked up like 1,000 times on a house shot and it misses. So I am trying to be comfortable enough to use my plastic spare ball on spares I would normally use my primary ball on. But when I started, I did notice though, when I started using that little tip of move 3 boards right if you left 3 pins on the left in the sports shot series, that made a huge difference. And so that made me feel more comfortable still using my primary ball for certain spares. Because yeah, I don't want to miss, right? So it's like, I want to be able to pick up those spares as much as possible. But yeah, I definitely know that on a sports shot, if you're not striking, you got to be sparing.
All right, here's a good question for you, okay? Considering, like I said, this comes back to the fact that you just had the front nine recently and you shot 277. So if you've ever had a chance to watch some of our DGAB podcast, I brought up the question to Dustin and Curtis. I would always ask them, would you rather, okay? It's a would you rather. So would you rather roll a 300 game and not win high game pot money, or would you rather roll a 160 game and win $100 high game pot? So which one would Amanda rather do?
That 300 all day long. I work a full-time job. I get paid, right? That 300 all day long, all day long.
Keith answered it right for you before you even said it.
Yes, and sometimes when I'm practicing, if I've got like my first 3 are strikes, I'll say something like, "Oh man, I'm gonna be so mad if I roll a 300 and it's not during league night," because I want it to be in my history, right? I want to get a reward for it. So I'm always like, I don't want to bowl a 300 while I'm practicing. I want it to be in league night. And someone had mentioned about how when you've got like the front nine and everybody starts gathering around and it gets real quiet. Well, with my experience, we were the last team there. We were a little bit slower bowling. And when I turned around, there was not a lot of people. Most everybody had cleared out. There were a few that had been paying attention and were hanging out. But I was like, it's going to be quiet anyway. But they're not being quiet because of me. It's because everybody's left. And that definitely took off a lot of pressure too. But I still had that adrenaline. It's just something, you just can't control that.
Hey, no, you're absolutely right. And it's funny, like I said, you are along of the answer that you just gave. I am getting more people to say I would rather have 300 than the money. And I've always told people, like, I would rather be the 160 and take the $100 because, again, it's one of those things where I have seen people roll 300 and lose. Yeah. So, yeah, see now, Rich here, don't let Rich fool you, okay? He pulls an 869 out of the bag for his first 800, and now all of a sudden he wants the $100. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, but no.
He's like, give me the money. Give me the money.
Yeah, and I totally understand where you're coming from too. So, no, okay, I like it. Yeah, I like it. I like the answer. All right, so, and one of the good things about it too, Amanda, is look, you have a plethora of knowledge here in the bowling community here on TikTok. And just so you know, I'm really glad that I was able to see you in your live and get to know you through bowling. It's just amazing how the community, even though like we're a couple of states apart, it's just, it seems so close knit of the community that bowling is, and that's what makes it so special. So I appreciate you coming on here and telling us your story. But now we're going to get towards the end here, okay? These are the tough questions, if you will. So I ask everybody this that comes on the show because it's very important. I think we all, if anything, we all have perspective. So here's a question for you. What has been the biggest life lesson you have ever learned?
I know I wrote this down because that's a tough one. Because when you get to my age, you've learned a lot of life lessons, and I'm not old. I'll be 42 in August, but you do learn a lot. And so what I really like is don't worry about what everybody else is doing. You got to focus on yourself and what you're doing. And that is very challenging as a female bowler because there's not a lot of us in league. And sometimes when you feel like you're just not doing well and you're watching somebody else and you're just like, well, why are they doing well? What are they doing that I'm not doing? And then you realize, you got to put the blinders on because I struggled with that a lot when I first started really bowling in the league because would be like another girl, we wouldn't even be on the same lanes, 2 lanes down. I'm like watching, like, is she going to get a strike? Am I going to get a strike? There's this competition that really shouldn't be there, right? So don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on yourself. And when other people are doing well, tell them they're doing well. Even if you're doing bad. I feel like I've been in a slump. My last 600 series, I think was September of last year. So not even a year yet, but I was very I kept saying, I'm getting one in the Winter League. It's going to happen. And then Winter League ended and I didn't have one. And I was just like, oh, so bummed. And then I got one last week. It just took a while to get there. So, and one of the girls that bowls on my, that I was telling you about, Jen, that bowled a 246 on a sports shot. Mm-hmm. I saw her post and I immediately was like, and then I was like, no, be happy for her. Mm-hmm. Be happy for her, right? Don't worry about what she's doing, but when she's doing good, you be happy for her. Don't worry about your downfalls because you want to be there, and yeah, it's the best advice I could give anybody is don't worry about what other people are doing. Mm-hmm. Focus on yourself.
All right, Pickles posted here the one question from Miss Maya, and I saw it earlier. I was going to try to keep it in my memory bank here, but she wants to know, have you ever bowled in scrubs?
Yes, but not for practice or a league. Actually, right after I graduated, one of our bowlers at the house, he does pictures on the side just for fun. And I reached out to him and was like, hey, I would like some graduation pictures. Let's come up with something fun. So we went to AB Tech and I took some in my cap and gown and a dress. And then we went back when they were open and I went back into the clinic with their permission. Nobody was there. And I took pictures in my pod, in my scrubs. And then we met up that same week on a Friday and I bowled in my scrubs and he took photos of me bowling in scrubs. So my graduation photos, I've got, at the bowling alley and they're on my Facebook page. And it's just something that I'll always be able to look back at and say, hey, you know what? I finally made it through hygiene school and I got to showcase one of my favorite things to do in scrubs because that's my other passion. So I was able to put the two together.
That is so awesome to hear. And it's just one of those things that just it makes your heart full. And it's kind of like you said, the older I've gotten, the circle has shrunk. And you just have a really good idea of who's there and who's not. So definitely good stuff here. I think you kind of got your stuff backwards here because when I asked you the biggest life lesson, you said not everyone's your friend and not everyone likes to see you succeed.
Yes, that is true. That was a pretty big lesson. I learned that first in high school. I won't get into the details, but I hung out with some girls who I thought they were my friends, but I knew that they really weren't, and that kind of I was always the nice girl in high school. And in my early 20s, once I got away from them, I kind of turned into a little bit of a witch with a bee because I was trying to protect myself from being treated that way again. And you don't realize it at the time. You just, because you're still growing, you're still learning. Your frontal cortex doesn't develop till you're 25, right? So I at some point my maturity level went up and it was like, you don't have to be that person. You do not have to be like those girls. The way they treated you, you don't need to treat other people bad, and not everybody's your friend. And then when you start getting older, your intuition kicks in. Mm-hmm. And you can almost tell instantly who you need to keep at arm's length after a few interactions and who you can, start to build a friendship with. So yes, not everybody is your friend and not everybody wants to see you succeed.
And that's the back and forth we were talking about. I was going to ask you, what is the best advice you were ever given and from who? And you had multiple people. You listed your husband as one. I know that. Uh, you think another one was from your mother?
My mom has always given me pretty good advice, you know, and for her, yeah, definitely don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Also, the same, you know, when you're a kid, well, everybody else is doing it, is what you would tell your parents. And what was the response? Well, if everybody jumped off a bridge, would you go with them? So,
And
yeah,
when we're that young, we're like, yeah, yeah, we sure would.
because you're wanting to go do what they're doing. So, what do you say? Yes, I'm going to jump off the bridge. Come on.
It sounds like fun. Oh my God, this has been great. Let me. I didn't. Again, another one I came up with before we got on here for the podcast, and this is kind of the first time I have asked anybody this on the program. But if you had a chance to go back and have a do over, would you, with your life, would you do over again?
I love that you asked this because when I look back at my life, um, not going straight into the dental field because I didn't know, or getting married young, um, moving back to Asheville, it's like if I could have changed one thing, I probably would have went straight into the dental field out of high school. That would be the one thing I would change. And I know that when you change one thing, it can also change the trajectory of everything else in your life, you know, the whole butterfly effect. But I would hope that I would still have learned, that I still would have married my ex, learned some valuable lessons there, come back to Asheville, you know, hook up with Keith, and find the love of my life. Like, why would I want to change any of that, you know? But yeah, I wish I had started out in the dental field a little bit sooner in my life, because I definitely feel like that this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to help people, because people don't realize how important oral hygiene is, and learning about it. Being a hygienist, I'm at an office that had a lot of older patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and I hear it almost every day. You're the first hygienist that's ever shown me how to floss properly. You're the first hygienist that's ever explained what plaque is, and the biofilm formation in the mouth, and how to angle my toothbrush. I've learned so much more than you than I have my entire life from a hygienist, and it makes me feel good. It makes me know that I'm making a difference in those patients' lives, because this affects everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely, I wouldn't change anything else about my life except for maybe getting into the field a little sooner.
So, one piece of absolute dental advice you would give every single one of us.
My favorite advice: floss first. Don't floss after you brush. Because I was a bad flosser, meaning I didn't floss every day. I was a dental assistant. I knew I needed to floss every day, but I didn't floss every day. And then when I got into hygiene school and started learning about biofilm in the mouth, your mouth is like a fish tank. If it's not, the fish tank's not taken care of, it grows green algae. Your mouth does the same thing. That's why you have to brush twice a day. You got to clean it off. That formation's constantly happening. If you're brushing your teeth and things feel good, you're not going to floss. I know from experience. You run your teeth your tongue along your teeth, like, yeah, I'm good to go. I'm going to bed, right? Floss first, because if you reach for that floss or that water flosser before you touch that toothbrush, you will floss 100% of the time. So that is my best piece of dental advice: is floss first.
All right, well, that's what I'm going to start doing then, because I definitely haven't been doing that. So that's uh, definitely really good advice. And we're going to go to the other end of it here. Uh, any bone advice you want to give anybody, whether it's like if they're thinking about getting out on the lanes, if they're thinking about starting up social media, what advice would you give them from your perspective?
From my perspective, if they're a brand new bowler and they just bowl casually but they want to get into it, go ahead and get a custom drilled ball and shoes. It doesn't have to be an expensive ball, but get you something that's going to be comfortable in your hand, and get your own shoes, because I really do think that equipment is important. Because you will never find me going to on vacation and not, and if I didn't bring my balls, I'm not going bowling. I'm not picking up a house ball. I can't throw a 14-pound house ball because of the way it's drilled,
Mhm.
right? And I don't want to put my feet in someone else's shoes anymore. So if you want to get started, it doesn't have to be an expensive ball. Get you a straight plastic ball, right? And just get a pair of shoes. That's my first piece of advice. Now, if you're a seasoned bowler and you've not done social media, but you're thinking about it, start now. Quit thinking about it and just do it. Because the longer you put it off, the longer it's going to take for you to grow, right? Every day you might not get a follower for 3, 4, or 5 days, right? Or even 2 or 3 weeks, but you'll get those views. And then the more you start posting stuff, your algorithm's going to change. You're going to meet people through social media that are just as into it as you. You're going to build your community. And then on TikTok, you get to that thousand follower mark and just start going live. Just do it, right? That's
Like
what I
Nike
did.
says. It's like
Yeah.
Nike says, just do it. I could not agree with that more. Amanda, before we get off here, plug in all of your socials.
All right, so as of now, right now, if you wanted to search me on TikTok, I'm right here, Dental Hygiene Queen, or my is at TaterBaby83. I do have an Instagram that my Instagram and Facebook, it's mostly personal stuff, but I do post some bowling stuff over there. You'll find me under Amanda Sellers on Facebook. Instagram is Black Widow Pink. And let's see, my YouTube is at TaterBaby83. I just kind of use that as a backup in case TikTok ever goes dark. So there's an old video on there on my shorts, and I don't remember when I posted it, but it's literally me probably in 2012 or 2013 with the Black Widow Nasty, and I'm bowling at Skylanes, and it was before their remodel. So it's got the white with the blue triangles along the backside on the walls. It's just like looks like a throwback video, but I keep trying. I'm like, I need to download this thing. For some reason, YouTube won't let me because I want to share it on my TikTok. But yeah, the YouTube stuff at TaterBaby83. Every once in a while, you'll see something thrown up there, but right now, TikTok is my most used platform.
I've got to ask you, tell us the story behind Tater Baby 83.
Okay, so when I was in elementary school, my friends wanted to come up with a nickname. And they were, I was little, right? So shorty, short stuff. And someone just popped out and said Mater with an M, right? And it just stuck. So I was actually Mater for a long time before the movie Cars came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was Mater. And I still have some friends that call me Mater. But back in 2012, I was working at a local restaurant called Frankie Bones. Rest in peace. They're no longer there. I love them. And there was another Amanda that worked there, and one of the servers that was like, he's like, I want to come up with nicknames for you guys. That way we're not getting you guys confused by calling each other Amanda. He said, don't tell me anything about yourself. I'd only been working there a couple weeks. He's like, I'm just going to come up with it. And so the next time I saw him, he said, your new nickname is Tater. And I literally just died laughing because I was like, well, I used to be called Mater. So this is perfect. You're not far off at all. And he thought that was pretty hilarious that he picked Tater to call me that. And you know what he picked for the other girl? Pickleball.
There you go, Pickles. There you go.
Pickleball. Because at Frankie Bones, there used to be an artist that would come in and draw caricatures of people. And a lot of the regulars, they would put their caricature at the table that they normally sat at. And there was a group of ladies that played pickleball. So they had like a big caricature at their table. And he said, I was just standing there and I thought, we'll call this Amanda Tater and we'll call that Amanda Pickleball.
All right. Hey, so one other thing, you being a hygienist and everything, I don't know if you've kept up with it, but Pickles here, Pickles recently was issued the challenge to consume 64 pickles in a day. So as a hygienist, again, dealing with the mouth, what do you think about that? What give Pickles some advice on here?
All right. So here's some quick dental knowledge. Your mouth is a neutral pH most of the time, right? A healthy mouth, neutral pH. anytime you eat or drink something that's not water, your mouth goes into what they call an acid attack. And so it lowers the pH to a more acidic level. And when you're in an acidic state, they actually call it demineralization. So your enamel gets weaker and cavities can form, right? So the thing is, what they say is after your last bite or last sip of something that's not water, it can take anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes for your mouth to get back to a neutral pH. So if you're constantly a snacker or you're constantly sipping on coffee, soda, tea, and you're keeping your mouth in a more acidic state, eating 64 pickles, depending on how, if it's in an hour, you might be okay. If you can shove down 64 pickles in an hour, but if you're spreading it out throughout the day, you're going to be putting your mouth at risk for developing a cavity. So just keep that in mind.
All right, Pickles. Well, you heard it here first, and this is a reputable source here. It's always good. I'm telling you. See, this is what I love about the bowling community, and this is why I always want to include something about someone that we don't know or whatever the career field has been. Like we have all learned something today. Like Maya just came in here and she was like, "I'm gonna go floss real quick. I'll be right back." Bickle says, "Thank you."
That's exactly how I felt when I started learning about biofilm. We're reading that chapter. I'm at home and I immediately was like, I'm going to go brush and floss real quick.
And Pickle says, "Thank you for that. We have been talking about hydration as well." We got a lot of people in here that are saying like, "Good God, Brian," and goodness, and the emoji with that kind of look on their face. So yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'll take snacks out of my life, Richie says, with the rolling the eyes emoji. But no.
That's usually when we tell our patients that who are at high risk, we start talking about diet and frequency. Basically, it's called frequency of ingestion. So if you're a snacker or a sipper, you're more at risk for getting cavities. And there is a bacteria that also causes the cavities too. So there's a lot more than just brushing and flossing when it comes to oral hygiene. It's so in depth. It really is a lot like bowling. When you first get started, it seems simple, and then you realize there's physics involved. There's science. The way the balls are created. The biggest question I get asked usually is like, "How do you make your ball curve?" And you know what I tell them? I don't. That's the first thing out of my mouth is like, I don't. I'll say, and it's the simple answer, like, I don't. It does it on its own. And then the next question I get is, what do you mean? And then I get to go into more detail. But yeah, same thing with oral hygiene. I can give you the basics, but if you really want to get down to it, there's a lot more that goes on inside the mouth than people realize.
Oh my goodness. No, like I said, I think all the tips you've given us, we definitely, I know I'm definitely going home and taking care of some things. So definitely good encouragement there. If we're in the what I like to call the winching hour of our show here, if anybody has any questions left for Miss Amanda, please ask them now because we're getting ready to call it an episode. Very successful episode, I might add. See, Richie says, I'm brushing as we speak. We've got a salute from Hello, the knowledge you dropped. And Elizabeth is liking the live like crazy. That's great. So is Miss Maya. And again, this has been such an awesome experience. I really do appreciate you coming on here and talking to us.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me to do it. Like, you're the first person that's ever reached out to do anything like this. So I immediately jumped on it. I was like, heck yeah, I'll do a podcast. I like to talk.
Hey, and I tell you what, again, I don't know how, again, hours are different. I know that's what you said, but we do an episode of, it's called DGAB After Dark. We do it every other Wednesday. We just had ours this Wednesday, so we'll skip one and we'll be back on the other. That's when you see Curtis, Dustin, and myself. We get on there and we really let loose. We talk about anything and everything, stuff we bring to the table. And maybe if you get a chance, you could pop in and I'll get you on there and we'll definitely talk some more dental stuff because you can never, I've always told people, like, it doesn't matter how old you are, you never stop learning. And the day you stop learning is the day you're done.
So I agree 100%. One more tip I like to tell people is that if you have a hard time flossing because of your hands being too big, or you feel like your teeth are too tight, get a water flosser. It's not going to replace that mechanical removal, but it's better than nothing. And it's smaller. Go online, look for a video that teaches you how to use one. You're not going to be perfect at it at first. You're going to spray down your bathroom. It's going to be a mess, but it's a new skill. Just like with bowling. The first time you start bowling, you're going to gutter almost every ball, right? So first time you start water flossing, even the 10th time you're water flossing, you're going to drown yourself. You're going to make a mess, but stick with it because you got to do a little bit of something, right? If you're not going to string floss, water floss. I always say do both. Do that I say mechanical removal first, water floss second, brush last. Don't rinse your mouth after brushing. What does everybody do when they are done brushing? They rinse their toothbrush, put it back in their mouth, or they rinse with water. Don't do that. You know what you're doing? You are rinsing out the anti-cavity properties. And if you read the backside of most toothpaste, it'll say do not eat or drink for 30 minutes. And that includes rinsing with water. You want your anti-cavity properties to sit in the mouth as much as possible. Spit it all out, but you want it to be on the teeth to be as effective as it should be. So those are things that people don't realize. Don't rinse your mouth out.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all heard it here first with Miss Amanda, and she knows what she's talking about. And that's all I got to say about that. And I was really trying to push it out here because Elizabeth was trying to get us to 40,000 likes, and we've exceeded that. So absolutely. This has been awesome. Yeah, no, hey, like I said, please keep an eye out for DGAB After Dark. And if there's a time you could pop in for just a few minutes, like I said, we'll bring you on like this. And like I said, we'll talk dental stuff. I'm all for it. Like I said, I'm all about learning about this. I do know that my mom's turning 65 here on the 16th, so she's getting Medicare. And one of the first things that she's looking at is she's always talked about she's lost a couple of her teeth, so now she's looking to get she's trying to look to get some replacements. So definitely something that I'll make sure she's on there for when you get on there and talk.
And Medicare is one of those insurances that there's no really not. I don't want to say the word scam. But insurance in general for dental is like a coupon you pay for. And then when it comes to Medicaid and Medicare, you got to find an office that actually will file.
Right.
Those are government-driven insurances, and the reimbursement rate is really low. So a lot of private practices don't see the value in being in network with those. So it's challenging to find an actual practice that will take Medicare. But don't give up. Look for one. Sometimes you have to travel a little bit to get to them.
Of course.
But yeah, and sometimes if it's affordable, if you can do it, I tell some people, don't worry about the insurance. Just take a little chunk of money and put it in a savings account make your own HSA or FSA account. And you've got a little savings pot there for your cleanings, for your basic stuff. And then if you get enough saved up for an implant or a partial or a denture, if it's something you can do, because having the insurance coverage for some people, they have to have it. But being able to make a little nest egg of money for your dental needs, I think is a solid piece of advice.
All right. Well, all right, y'all. Like I said, this has been episode 23 of Calling All Bowlers. I just want to personally say thank you for coming on here, Amanda. Thank you for helping me check off the state of North Carolina. And as a fun fact for you all, I got to count it here real quick, but that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That was the 19th state that I have now covered as far as how many people I have spoke to in the different states. And I will show you guys this. Well, I don't know if it'll go up. No, it ain't going to go up there. I got a whole long list of states I haven't covered. So if something you're interested in, let me know. Send me a message, and we will see what we can do for you. But no, Amanda, thank you so much for being on here. I really do appreciate it. And I meant to answer Rich's question. The next DGAB After Dark is not going to be this Wednesday, but it will be the 23rd of July. So tune in for that. Yes, Elizabeth is going to be representing Ohio. You
Yay! My
will.
brother lives in Ohio, so that's awesome.
All right. Well, then, just so you know, you go back and check out the joke I asked Curtis one time about what's round on the sides but high in the middle. It's Ohio.
I love it. I love it. I love a good dad joke. I
Hey,
love puns. I think
if
it's
you
great.
watch some of those videos with Curtis, his reaction makes the video. So,
I've seen a couple of them pop up in my FYP, and there it's
mhm.
always a good laugh.
Well, all right, y'all. Everybody, thank you so much. Thanks for all the likes, all the gifts, but most importantly, Amanda, thank you for taking the time out of y'all's busy day and sharing it with us and talking bowling and dental anything and everything. And
Yeah.
you guys have a wonderful evening. Again, stay tuned here in about 25 minutes. Pickles and the entire gang are going to be on for the learning curve, so you guys should stay tuned for that. 8 Central, 6 Mountain Time, because we have people closer to the West Coast. But stay tuned for the learning curve with those guys. And Amanda, I cannot wait for you to message me or tag me in the video when you shoot 300. You got me?
You know it. I'll definitely do it.
All right, everybody. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Amanda, thank you again, okay?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I
Uh,
really enjoyed it.
Absolutely, okay? Y'all have a good evening.